We got an appointment to keep at Matriarch's mercy. Let's just hope we don't get shelled too.
Welcome to the Order of the Ascendant. Relax. Your future is in our hands.
Please, somebody help us! Anybody, please! Finally, some help. We desperately need aid. Desperately. My family and I, we was making our way to the mercy camp for us refugees. We were set upon. My wife, my son were injured. Can't move them by myself. I had to leave them just past this tunnel so as I could go for help. But being alone is even more riskier. The Varachnids, I chased them off, but they'll be back. Please help us. Ain't nothing I can do for them, but you got weapon and medicines and can get us to the camp. Please. Of course there is. It's my family. They're hurt, dying. Thank you. Thank you. This way. This way.
Ready to waste it on your command. Hey, got a distraction for you. I'm the one you need to worry about. How are you still upright over there?
Join me while making practice ready. And frankly, pissed off. Refugees, looks like. And after that strike, there'll only be more at the gates.
Another refugee? All right, step forward. Just a moment. Allowing anyone into Matriarch's mercy unprocessed will upset the precarious ratio of refugees to aid. We should have an opportunity for placement in approximately 7.85 days, presuming no unforeseen alterations. Oh, no, we can't allow that. You'd best go and see our doctor at once. Just keep your distance from others. Our calculations do not afford many sick refugees. Welcome to Matriarch's Mercy. Rule number 1, no crowding. Rule number 2, avoid the exclusion zone. Our seer has predicted non-specific imminent danger. I thought the name was self-explanatory. Our seer predicted that a corner of the encampment is in terrible danger. Danger from what? Or when? Unclear. Stay away from it, and, in all probability, you won't have to find out. Safety and probability are incompatible. Eventually, nowhere will be safe, including here. Not at present, but according to our predictions, the creation of a third rule is likely, if not inevitable. Our predictions spring from the universal equation, the very numbers that guide the stars. Only a fool ignores probability, and we don't suffer fools around these parts. That's enough questions. Keep the line moving. You need anything, talk to Seer Wiley. He's in the lift building, straight through the settlement.
Do you believe Arcadia shall ever return to how it was?
I wish. Between the invaders and the Order defecting, there's no putting this sprat back into the can.
Cloister is looking pretty good right about now.
A wasteland devoid of life? No, Arcadia is doomed. Plain and simple.
Algorithmic dissonance? Don't even like the sound of it. How could something be incalculable? Why, the very idea is preposterous. And then we solve for the... apologies. Just catching up on a research assignment between queries. Yes? Did you need something? Typically, no. And it has been somewhat challenging focusing my concentration. The abbot felt a scientician operating in a conspicuous spot in the thoroughfare might be useful. An illustrative way for our guests to see how we operate. To show how the crabble patties are made, as it were. That is, if the meat preparation involved a 90-step rate formula and a conflux of polynomial equations. I am also on hand to answer queries by providing data supporting our actions. Though perhaps due to my central location, 89.74% of the time, I am simply asked for directions. Given our present circumstances, most of my data revolves around existential threats, vis-a-vis the displaced. According to data, life inside shows a notable uptick in key relevant quality of life factors: longevity, access to medicine, potable water. Life outside sees increased risk of starvation, inclement weather, and hostile xenofauna. Yes, indeed. Numbers are really against you out there. We have diverted internal resources to better meet demand in key areas. And I'm pleased to say that's led to a statistically significant 2.7% increase in refugee satisfaction. But if my data remains unconvincing, I suggest you inquire with Provisioner Plotnik inside the lift building. Simply tell her Archivist Widmark approves brief use of her time. then back to it I shall get.
Well, I told that guy I wasn't coming down there unless we verify he had been first.
If we factor for random elements offsetting certain key variables, upsetting the mock...
Oh, try not to get too close. My sinuses are stuffed up, my ears are backed up, and my guts are gurgling. I could burst at any moment. Every fluid from every orifice. So keep your distance.
Don't want it, don't need it.
I've gotten sick at least a dozen times since we set up camp. Why, last week alone, I caught hack lung, sprat tongue, skinny teeth, and a rare case of mortified skull emergence. Figured I might as well get used to being sick. So I'm practicing for my next disease. It's gonna be a nasty one. I think it's downright awful what's happened to these fine folks. But me especially. Sickness, malnutrition, spontaneous genetic disorders, it never ends. You too. Trust me, you don't want to catch this. Neither do I, for that matter.
How long are we meant to stay here?
Ask the Order. I'm not in the prediction business.
Broke my nose last scrap. Or, I guess Raleigh Dortmunder did, huh? I still don't get any of this. I banged him up real good for you, didn't I? I won you one, right? Matters settled. The void you did. Barely connected. You're thinking of 2-3 scraps ago. You've been mostly unconscious a while now. You used at least 2 words I ain't sure I know. And I already forgot the question. No? I think. You ought to talk to Boss Tilda. She's the brains in this... What does she call it? Oh, yeah. Quasi-illicit shenanigan. Doesn't like to look at us when we're all banged up. Said my face turned her off Borscht loaf. Anyhow, head down the hill along the fence. Tell her Mapother and Mudge sent you.
Keep your lamps lit. Wherever there's trouble, there's always opportunists willing to profit from it.
Do we know each other? Let's say we don't. I'm laying low.
You got business? No? Move on. You the fixer-lyncher aide to Agent Galloway? Don't suppose you got that crawling hibiscus she promised to sneak me, huh? Forget it. You can come in. Hello, hello. You're the one that aided us in availing Sub Rosa of a rather large shipment of Spectrum vodka, yes? Agent Galloway is slightly less trustful than most feral canids, so winning her over speaks volumes of your character. Consequently, I'm pleased to present you purchase access to my fine wares. It's fortunate you're no stranger to contraband. It's superb cover and a consistent market. Refugees are in need of all sorts of supplies that the Order cannot provide, and Sub Rosa delivers, at only a reasonable markup. Myself, I enjoy the thrills of the environ. Will the Order attempt to drive me out? Will Matriarch's mercy be shelled? Shall I run out of new cereals? Oh, thrilling! Why, I thank you. Takes a unique sort to appreciate the finer points of illegal smuggling. We stand that we'd like to make a good ton of bits on the war, and maybe expand our reach in the process. Beyond that, I'm not supposed to comment. But Sub Rosa consists primarily of ex-Anti's Choice and ex-Protectorate personnel. We've still got folks we care about out there. Complicates some of our feelings on the fighting. But if the fighting stops, our income begins to go dry. Feast thine eyes on the merchandise.
Greetings. What can I help you with? Let me guess. One of your co-occupants is always hanging up his or her britches in your corner of the yurt. Am I right? Or you're dealing with more of a stay off my palate or that's my air you're breathing sort of thing. Hmm? Pray elucidate the exact nature of your tiff of contention. Oh, really? Like they strung a few words together in a row and it all made sense? That's a marked improvement on earlier. Guessing they left out a bunch, though. Here in Matriarch's Mercy, if you're not a member of the Order, you're probably living close to somebody else. In some cases, sleeping on top of them. Sort of thing tends to cause friction between neighbors. Would lead to fights, but nobody here wants trouble with the Order. So they hire our hooligans to battle by proxy. Half the time, people shy away at the first sight of blood. The other, that's what they're there for. We say whoever wins the fight wins the argument. But frankly, it's never anything of consequence, like, okay, hurrah! This guy gets back his mangy button. Now, how can I help you exactly? Ugh, a tourist. Well, clear out then, huh? Can't have you scaring off real customers. I got a bunch of yeggs, 2 pugilized pugilists, and a sick canid to feed.
Look, your nose was just a stand-in for Duarte's nose.
Don't feel like no stand-in.
The meaning of life is numeric, and we are the keepers of the equation. Apologies, outsider. As a vicar, I am usually tasked with guiding non-order lay people, such as yourself. Lately, the abbot has tasked me with the education of the refugees in our care. You are, of course, free to stay to be enlightened by my lecture, but I don't need an abacus to predict your path lies elsewhere. Well, if it's in the displaced's best interests, I imagine I can find a moment. Yes, I reckon I do have my ear to the grimy dirt floor of Matriarch's Mercy. I hear what common lay people are saying, and the wide array of bodily noises they make. Suppose I, more than any other member of the Order here, connect with non-scienticians. I've begun daily lectures, including practical advice on efficiently planning their days. I frequently launch into extended orations on everyone's favorite topic, math, and meticulously expatiate on our sex origins in the most rigorously pedantic detail. Oh, dear. I got ahead of myself, didn't I? That's an occupational hazard around here. As I'm sure you've read in recent dissertations doing the rounds, education has proven to have a 13.7% increase in overall quality of life. I am single-handedly making a difference here. with constructive pointers on efficient scheduling, lessons on order history, plus some mathematics for a little added razzle-dazzle. Perhaps some other time we can debate the theoretical complexities involved. But I fear I must get back to my duties. These laypersons won't enlighten themselves.
Where do we go now? Another refugee camp? Another colony?
I predict, with an 8.23 margin of error, that our situation will improve in time.
Stop it with the predictions. You don't even know multivariable calculus.
Just trying to cheer you up.
We're not going anywhere! Not on the basis of some half-baked prediction. This so-called exclusion zone is where we stake our claim. Stand with me in defense of freedom!
Except for the fact that you ain't yelling and trying to eat me. I'd have pegged you as some sort of prosperous scrapper by the rough look you got about you. You do got a certain feral look in your eye, though. Okay. I give up. Tell me. May Huffstutler, formerly Auntie's Choice, Department of Invasive Marketing. Now, the voice of the displaced. That's what those in the Order call me, leastways. An unofficial sobriquet, likely meant as a petulant slight. On account I object. Louder. More often than the rest. Those of us ended up here have very little except needs. I turn those into demands for reasons of clarity and import. Though, admittedly, it's a difficult way to make friends. The Order's not exactly fond of me. Rabble-rousing doesn't align with their vision of a perfect universe. Happy as I am to make your acquaintance, I'm busy staking our claim over the exclusion zone, so if you'll excuse me. The exclusion zone. The Order has decided to keep us out thanks to some nebulous prediction of disaster. Screw their predictions. We have people, displaced by war and disaster, in sore need of space. There's plenty of room to house them. Chance of life-threatening peril from a yet-to-be-determined catastrophe were the administrant's words. Not what I would call specific. I honestly don't give the slightest whit about the Order's idea of math or whatever calculation tells them that a catastrophe may or may not occur. I couldn't get anywhere with Administrant Agarwal, but you, maybe you'll have better luck. Even the Order, for all of their logical ways, value an outside perspective. And because I've run out of options. I got a pretty fancy gun I was issued back when I was a rising star at Auntie's. Side with us, and it's yours. Even throw in a healthy amount of bits for your troubles. Thanks, stranger. Maybe fate's on our side for a change. You can find Agarwal in the lift building. Probably formulating another equation to get on my nerves.
Oh, a visitor. Without notice. Hello. You weren't mentioned in my latest personalized order projection. I mean, prediction. Granted, I mostly skim the parts what don't cover probabilistic dangers, so perhaps you were alluded to in some, roundabout fashion. Suppose that means you're not a threat. So that's good, right? Yeah, I reckon that's good. I'll say, I try not to make any big plans until I consult my latest POP. First time I got a POP, it was on a lark. It said, Rollo Nast, our seer has predicted you must wear a helmet today. I borrowed one, as a laugh. Everybody ribbed me about it. Just after lunch, wind picked up on the cliff above and dropped a mock apple 152 meters straight down onto my head. Fortunately, I still had that brain case on. I mean, if you want an exact estimate or percentage, talk to them. As for me, I just got that, what do you call it? Anecdotal feedback. A few times, I couldn't make heads or tail of half of it. Like, avoid anything representing whole numbers? I didn't know what to do about that. So I just stayed put. End of the day, I'm still here, and my co-occupant Ike isn't. So, I guess them prognostications work well enough. You did catch the part I said they'd save my life, right? I think alive is a notable improvement on dead. That's something you can take to the bank, you know? Figuratively speaking. I don't know why the other displaced have been so slow to take to them. But I'm not complaining too loud. Waited for my latest POPs long enough already.
Friends, neighbors, while you shelter in Matriarch's mercy, heed the teachings of the
Watch yourself if you intend to nose around that collapsed ramshackle. I swear, refugee settlements aren't what they used to be. Yes, technically a hut is meant to be only one story, because when you stack them, they tend to fall over. Happens a lot. People here need more room to breathe. Can't build in the walkways, can't set up in the exclusion zone, so they build up. Best they can, at least. Don't have proper building material or nothing. They just make do. After a while, the stacked up little huts they jury-rigged come tumbling down. Oh, you put that together, did you? Here, I thought I was being subtle. Yeah, people keep at it. What else choice they have? Order won't listen. Maybe if we interspersed our requests with numbers, they'd pay attention. Seems like all they care about sometimes. They're doing something, which is better than nothing, but not by much.
14.7% higher chance of survival.
The lower hall is for contemplative calculation. The upper hall is for somber internal speculation. For those lost in thought and are finishing an equation, I repeat, the lower hall is for contemplative calculation. The upper hall is for somber internal speculation.
Welcome. Have you come to bask in the Order's knowledge?
What is it? I have 15 seconds of allotted time for non-specific discourse, so choose your words with expediency. Oh, don't tell me. You're here on behalf of the voice of the displaced, aren't you? Don't bother. My prognostication report listed an 85.2% probability we'd have this conversation. This is about the exclusion zone, correct? Fair enough. The exclusion zone is a mere corner of Matriarch's mercy, and rightfully off-limits. You see, the seer predicted that a calamity would befall the exclusion zone, warning that the barrier must not be crossed. But the ever-disruptive voice of the displaced is dead set on occupying the exclusion zone anyway, laughing in the face of certain peril. We don't know, and therein lies the frustration. The Seer has augured death for anyone who enters the exclusion zone. Yes, you heard me right. Death. Furthermore, and I quote, an outside mediator, having earned the confidence of both sides, has a high likelihood of clearing up an ongoing dispute. And now the voice has involved you. How auspicious. Perhaps you are the outside mediator who was foretold. The first step is to familiarize yourself with every angle of the dispute. Talk to the people of Matriarch's Mercy. The displaced want the exclusion zone. We want it kept off limits. We can't both be right. With your seasoned perspective, perhaps the voice of the displaced will learn to listen. Any questions before you get started? I can tell you she's a rabble-rouser of the highest order. Still, she cleaves to her principles. That's something. You can find her outside, among her people, stubbornly defying an order barricade. But you already knew that. Novice Seer Vicarage should have ample time to illuminate you on the Order's forecast modeling methods. He's just down the room from here. According to predictions, yes. Or at least, my interpretation of them. I am reasonably certain. More than usual, in fact. Many people around camp support or object to our methods. Speak to them, form your own opinion, and when you are ready, you will decide the fate of the exclusion zone.
$1,068.5 pardons, but my attention is presently 99.81% occupied, coordinating provisions and supplies for the displaced. Well, if the Archivist said so, I suppose I can factor out a moment. As the assigned provisioner, I am responsible for coordinating the requisition and distribution of comestibles, medicinals, and miscellaneous vital supplies. The overwhelming majority of my time is dedicated to this, leaving only moments to see to the Order's needs in the settlement. But it is an effort I undertake with great relish. You may not have noticed, but the refugees do not want for food or medicine. The Order of the Ascendant is dedicated to the ascension of humanity. Our ultimate goal may not be reached in our lifetime. If I can help others in need today, I shall do so to the utmost extent of my abilities and resources. With the great disruption that has occurred to their lives, one can hardly blame them. That they are fed and remain healthy is sufficient for me. Appreciate you respecting my time.
By the law. It's you. Oh, thank the architect you're finally here. I've scarcely breathed while hoping you'd come. I am in desperate need of your help. Forgive me. I had almost lost hope of seeing you in the flesh. You see, the Seers are members of the Order who labor over the universal equation. Even in its unfinished state, the equation gives them the means to predict the future. Recently, I had a rare opportunity to ask the Seer for guidance. He told me that a dashing outsider would answer my prayers. I feared the prediction was a fluke, but here you are, a dashing outsider standing before me. Strictly speaking, it isn't. Not yet. But the math is very, very, very good at predicting what is probably most likely extremely possible. In theory. Within a margin of error. Anyway, that is the Seer's business. My business is the health and welfare of this camp. As a doctor, I'm appalled. We don't have enough beds or private quarters to separate people, so sickness is blazing an unhappy trail through the refugees. Of course, the Order keeps us well supplied with meds, but things will get worse as long as we're overcrowded. Yes, I can treat sickness as it arises. It would be leagues better to prevent it entirely. That means space to spread out. Since you asked, you can run this medicine to Horst Lambing. Just don't shake the man's hand. He has a habit of coughing into his palm when he covers it at all. You see, the Seers are members of the Order who labor over the universal equation. Even in its unfinished state, the equation gives them the means to predict the future. Recently, I had a rare opportunity to ask the Seer for guidance. He told me that a dashing outsider would answer my prayers. I feared the prediction was a fluke, but here you are. A dashing outsider standing before me. Where to begin? There are so many sick and wounded in Matriarch's mercy, and I have but 2 imperfect hands. I am but a humble general practitioner. What I really need are specialists, and the Seer predicted an outsider would find them. My thanks, stranger. Probability is on our side. The Seer gave me a datapad with explicit instructions that I not read it, for my intervention could only throw probability into disarray. Now, take the datapad, with my thanks.
The universe does not orient itself to...
Ah! I pleasantly anticipated this exact moment. My personalized order prediction and weekly prognostics report both mentioned encountering an unforeseen factor about now. I suppose that designation doesn't wholly apply to you, though, does it? Predicting future events is an imprecise science. Currently, that is. Well, then. I read that you'd have questions about our predictive methods, correct? We utilize a mix of proprietary research methods to gather as complete a data set as possible, and advanced calculations using well-honed models to effectuate it. None of us predict events with complete accuracy or absolute detail. We'd need to solve the universal equation to do that. Fortunately, we're all working very hard on that problem. The Department of Predictive Analysis provide weekly prognostics reports and personalized order predictions to help steer our followers' paths. The Department of Predictive Analysis is mainly populated by seers like myself, who represent the Order's most talented mathematicians. After years of study, some can predict events a few seconds or minutes into the future with reasonable precision. Others can estimate with up to 71.1% accuracy several months out. Of course, predictions have grown more difficult with the loss of the archive, but I am not to speak of that with an outsider. No offense. The former are generalized forecasts for groups or settlements. The latter are more specialized to individuals and take far more time to calculate. Usually some are handled by one of the more senior seers in a region, but with Seer Wiley's days taken up advising the abbots and other things, this responsibility falls to me. Regrettably, I have built up a bit of a sizable backlog. Matriarch's mercy is brimming beyond capacity with those cast out by war. But we of the Order rise to every challenge and continually strive to better our guests' existence. Why, I, for instance, have availed my predictive methods to our refugee neighbors in the area. There's nothing more practical than improving lives now, is there? We've offered the displaced access to our weekly prognostics reports and personalized order predictions. Engagement is admittedly rather low, but at least one member of the camp reports he has benefited from them greatly. One of our recent guests, Rollo Nast, has received multiple personalized order predictions. I believe he could speak to the effectiveness of our ways firsthand. If my own humble assertions are not enough, I trust his attestations would convince you, and perhaps other members of the Displaced as well. True, my situation does lack a certain refinement. Regrettably, this is Matriarch's mercy. We all must do the best we can with limited means. I foresee you have much to do. I won't keep you. Adieu.
Ah, you must be the, Earth Directorate Agent I was told to expect. Your punctuality is commendable. Allow me to welcome you to Golden Reach. I'm afraid I've no refreshments available, but can I interest you in a customary debate over decidability? Sensible. Straight to business, then. The presiding bishop sent word of your imminent arrival. However, pursuant to our normal standards of compartmentalization, she was scant on the details of your mission. That said, I've been instructed to assist you however I can. So, tell me, what brings you to Golden Reach? Victor? Oh, yes, Archivist Clemens. Quite the mind. Such encyclopedic knowledge of engineering. One could almost mistake him for an exemplar. Is he in some kind of trouble?
Victor Clemens, some kind of radical. What an absurd notion.
I must agree with my seer. I once watched Victor shed copious tears over a damaged datapad. It's difficult to imagine him capable of worse. Good intentions have led scienticians in the past to stray down paths most troubling. Victor's currently supervising highly experimental research at one of our labs to the northwest, the N-Ray Range, beyond the invaders' front lines. Unfortunately, you'll need to go through the decommissioned autonomous extractorium to reach it. That path is less than safe, so I advise caution. Besides the highly caustic Zeranium River and the Mantisaurs, we've also received reports of mad cultists in the area. It does make me wonder why Victor decided to stay.
Fascinating. Your fear response must be suffering from some impairment. Likely the result of a traumatic brain injury. I'd have to open you up to be sure.
A generous offer, my friend, but I don't think the agent is interested in exploratory surgeries at the moment. Loath as I am to admit it, there may be some merit to your worries over a conspiracy within the Order, whether Victor is involved or not. As my predecessor would remind me, denying unpleasant facts is not good science. I would be remiss if I failed to support an investigation. No doubt you heard of the recent attack launched on that Auntie's Choice base, Outpost Opportunity. It came from one of our facilities, the Zeranium Manufactory. But that facility is intended for research, not military action. I hate thinking an Order member responsible, but given the precision of the attack, it does suggest traitors in our midst. It would undoubtedly benefit both of us to root them out.
Respectfully, Scholar, given current tensions, should we really be trusting such a delicate task to this stranger? Would an internal review of our ranks not be more appropriate? Choosing levity at a moment like this is only further evidence of your lack of good judgment.
I don't dispute the need for discretion, my friend, but the presiding bishop made the determination to send the agent to us. It's best we trust her calculations. Moreover, our situation is growing increasingly dire. I can't overstate my fears concerning this most recent attack ending the ceasefire and reigniting the war in Golden Ridge. One more thing. Your investigation into the traitors takes precedence, but if you could also render aid at Outpost Opportunity on our behalf, such a gesture might preserve the peace. Most assuredly not. It would eliminate the entire point of the ceasefire. Please convey that fact to whomever you speak with.
And here I was under the impression that investigating crime and injustice was primarily what Earth Directorate agents do.
He's got us there, Commander.
At any rate, I trust whatever's uncovered over the course of this investigation will serve as compensation enough. I knew I could rely upon you. Ruth wouldn't have sent you otherwise. Here, take this writ of investigative inquiry. It'll grant you access to the manufactory. Seer Wiley and I will conduct our own inquest into these traitors you've mentioned erstwhile. We can compare notes once you've returned with your findings. Illuminating the path to true erudition is an abbot's moral duty. Whatever I can tell you, I will.
A calling for those with a greater than average talent for mathematics and computation, particularly in the field of predictive analysis. Yes.
Seer Wiley is being too modest about his contributions. Many in the Order rely on Seers for their indispensable counsel. I myself would be lost without mine. Oh, indeed. I needn't educate you on what you can see with your very eyes. There is a great deal of pressure on me to navigate what is a rather novel situation. Without Wiley, I dare say our predicament here would be even more precarious. Many lives depend on him, on us both. Why, Matriarch's Mercy would not be the refuge it is without his predictions shepherding its development. Not if you consider the alternative. Its absence would be far more catastrophic for these poor refugees. Really, the Order is being quite charitable. That is a statue of the Matriarch, Alexandra Varick, Arcadia's founder and for whom the monastery was named after. Regrettably, Alexandra Monastery is closed to non-Order members at the moment, given recent troubles. But perhaps Seer Wiley can give us an estimation of its reopening.
Oh, certainly. According to my calculations, the monastery will be accessible to certain members of the public shortly.
Haha, good news indeed. Oh, you really must visit. The observatory is a true sight to behold.
Speak to Abbot Newell if you've more queries.
Where to first, Commander? Enray Range, Zeranium Manufactory, or Outpost Opportunity?
I hope you bring me good tidings. Besides what I've already told you, to put it gently, disorganized, which is irregular for a group that prides itself on mathematical acumen. But with effort, patience, and collaboration, I am confident that Matriarch's Mercy will soon be a haven for the displaced. Exemplary. Our scienticians reported they were most impressed with the thoroughness of your inquiry. The displaced must deeply appreciate your careful consideration. And me, by proxy as well, as your ardent and industrious facilitator. Go speak with the voice of the displaced. I will meet you there shortly, and finally, we can bring this to a close.
Where do we go now? Another refugee camp? Another colony?
I predict with an 8.23 margin of error.
Oh. Administrant Agarwal. Here to finally hash this out, are you? Thought this day would never come.
Yes, well, our esteemed outsider here has agreed to thoroughly appraise our situation, in the hope that we may finally close the book on the exclusion zone once and for all.
They say you asked around. Listen to folks. That's a good start, at least.
Speaking as a representative of the Order, we will abide by the Mediator's decision if you do the same.
Agreed.
Mediator, I leave the fate of the exclusion zone in your capable hands. Speak on, then.
Did he also happen to mention they were needlessly oblique and vague?
But our predictions are given to inform and protect, not to frighten. Forgive me. I do not mean to disrupt.
You mean that missionary type who's always talking at everybody instead of to them?
A bit rude, don't you think? But since this mediation was foretold, I will not dispute your findings.
You actually got the Provisioner to give you the time of day. Huh.
Ah, yes. I sometimes forget Provisioner Plotnik is also assigned to minding the displaced's needs. Her role is largely proactive, while mine is reactive.
If the Provisioner's booked up, I say redeploy another egghead at the matter.
It's less of an issue of personnel as it is of safety. Contrary to your assumptions, we do care about your collective and individual well-being.
I'm all ears, Mediator.
The what now?
When grievances between the displaced approach fisticuffs, we hire sub-Rosa hooligans to duke things out for us.
That is unquantifiably absurd, and I don't see how moving into the exclusion zone will help. Unproductive is one thing. Paid Donnybrooks with surrogate fighters is... well, I'm at a loss for an applicative metaphor to describe it. I understand he is rather short-handed.
Yeah. Someone should get right on that, huh? Anyhow, what was the good doctor's diagnosis? At Auntie's Choice, we'd view this from a lens of how sickness undercuts productivity.
That is indeed unfortunate, but the dangers predicted for the exclusion zone may outweigh these concerns. Collapsed. But we built Matriarch's Mercy to optimize comfort and safety.
I'm guessing you're saying this wasn't an official structure, more of a hastily assembled, precariously built shanty. People are struggling to make do with what they have. If we had the exclusion zone, this wouldn't be a problem.
I'm aghast these structures weren't built following established order construction guidelines. By my calculations, you've explored this topic from every conceivable angle. Admirable work, Mediator. I suspect that your sympathies lie with the displaced. Unfortunate if true, but I leave the decision in your capable hands. Well, if this is the fate that was augured, then I will not complain, though it goes against my very nature. Please, be safe. That's all I ask.
Not to worry, Administrant. The exclusion zone is our problem now. Here, you stay out of trouble. We'll try and do the same.
What happened to this place? Law. Matriarch's Mercy is no safer than the trenches.
Look on the bright side. I predict
Can't say I'm fond of these lodgings. Talk about close.
I remember this place before the war. Functioning tramiculars. Peaceful silence of the canyons.
I can't recall the last time this region was silent.